Hello, you are welcome here in my business shop, and should I say also Merry Christmas. I've got kind of a fun project today I thought of, just something to get a little bit in the holiday spirit here. And if you've got a leather shop, this is a fun project to bring someone out from in front of the game console out, and they can help you make one of these and they can take it with them. I hope you enjoy being here with me in the shop today. So to get started, I've got a piece of some heavyweight paper here. You can clearly use a lot of different things. I'm gonna make a pattern with it. And you've probably made a pattern like this when you were little, and who knows, maybe you made one like this recently. So this is just kind of a fun project. Shouldn't take very long here. Obviously you could put a lot more time into it, or you could do it quicker. I'm gonna start off just kind of roughly trying to square up this bottom so I kind of know where that's at. And let me draw out what we're going to be doing here. We're going to make this tree. We're going to make it. I'm going to go 11 inches tall for the tree. And you've probably done this before as a kid. Yeah, you know where I'm headed. I'm looking at it, I'm going to make it just 3 tall, so I'm going to cut it off here. I'll just use my knife. I've got the paper folded in half so that I can make it 2-sided, and it'll be the same on both sides. Well, it'll start off the same on both sides. We'll see how my cutting is with the leather. We're going to put decorations on the tree, and I'm going to use some spots to do that. You could get color ones to use, or you could do, there's lots of things you could do. You could create little patterns on them and stitch them in with your thread. And I made this a little bit curved, and you'll see why here in a little bit. So there's my tree. I think these stick out a little bit far. Let me improve my design shape here just a little bit. Don't get your finger on the other side of that knife, Robert. You get your finger on the other side there, you'll have to get out the Band-Aids again. I need a new cutting board for Christmas, don't I? That one's kind of nasty looking. Okay, so we have our pattern, and it doesn't need to be terribly stiff leather for this. I'm going to go dig in my my kind of odds and ends bin and see what I can find in here. So out of this leather, I'll cut these pieces, and let me sketch them on here. You could leave this natural. You could just oil it if you wanted. But I've got actually some green dye that I bought recently that I haven't used yet. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to put green. I was talking to my daughter the other day on the phone, and I don't know, talking about a Christmas tree or something, and it just popped in my mind. I'm like, you know what? That will make a fun project to share on Christmas Day, and something that you could get grandkids around or your kids around. You could definitely pull them out in the shop, and in a couple hours they'll have something. And I don't know, if they're corny like me, maybe they'll have it for the rest of their life stored away somewhere. I'm gonna have to, there's some cuts and such over here. Let me get this sketched in here. This was a just a belly that I purchased. I was curious as to what the quality would be, thinking that I could use it on some other projects. And I never really, I didn't care much for the piece of leather when I got it. I was hoping for a little bit better quality. If someone's going to, you know, market and sell the bellies for, I don't remember what they said, craft projects or whatever. But anyway, it wasn't a whole lot of money, but it definitely wasn't worth what I paid for it. I'm gonna go ahead and cut these out, and then they just have to be reasonably close to the shape that it started off as. And when I get these cut out, then we'll come back. You know, as I'm cutting this out, I'll tell you a little story. I don't know what made me think of it. I guess my mind first went to, you know, besides a tree, you could make some ornaments this way. You could do a lot of different things. And then when I thought of ornaments, I thought of being in the Cub Scouts many moons ago. And our den leader had purchased a set of wooden, I think they were like a pre-punch out little wooden pieces that you could sand, and then you could paint them or dye them and make Christmas ornaments. And yes, I still have mine. The wife didn't realize all the treasures she would get when she got married. That was one of them. Was my little, I think he's a soldier, I think. It's not a drummer boy, I don't think. I think it's a soldier. You could make this as a 4-sided, but I figured 3-sided would be easier to control any wobble. And the way I've put this together, you want the 3 parts to be of similar weight and temper of leather. You'll see why here in a little bit. You could tool this as well. There's my 3 pieces. Let me set up, we'll get some dye on this. Now that the dye has dried, we're going to put a coat of clear on this. I'm using Resin. You could use tan coat, or I suppose you could leave it unfinished, but I think this will richen it up a little bit and make it look pretty cool. So now we've got the 3 Christmas trees dyed and a coat of Resin on them. I'm going to add some decorations, and I think it needs to be somewhat random on here. And like I said earlier, you could do tooling if you decided you wanted to do tooling instead. So I'm going to add some decorations here. And what I'm going to use is going to be some rivets. If you wanted to do some type of a pattern, you could create a pattern. Or sometimes I think random is harder than a real pattern. If you wanted to say your rivets, if you aren't going to store your Christmas tree, you could just snap them on there. They kind of stay and not set them. I've got little turquoise spots. You could do that instead. You know, I think I just like the brass. I think I might do one side of the tree brass, maybe the other side of the tree chrome. On this next stage, you could put these tips together with a rivet here and here and here, and you could be done with it that way. But I've got a better idea. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create snow on the tree with my stitching. So what I'll do is this is just to hold it in place while I put my, really just to get my stitching holes in. One thing I forgot to do, once I get these stitching holes in, I'll be pulling it apart to do the stitching holes on the other one. So I need to number these. So this is 1 and 2. And then this will be 1 and 3. I think it'll make sense when I get there. This one will be 2 and 3. I'll put my ones together here. See how accurate my cutout is. Okay. The next thing I'll do is put in my stitching allowance. I'll use my stitching chisels here. I think I'm gonna work my way back from the tip. I can go past where I'm at. So I'm going to do that on each one of these, on each panel of tree. When I get this one done, I'll pull this apart and I'll hook it to the next one. I'll do this on the others, and then we'll do the stitching, and I'm going to do the stitching as a whip stitch, and it'll add snow to the top. So I'm sewing my way down this outline here, and it's just a simple whip stitch. It's really a pretty easy stitch to do. It moves along pretty quickly. So if you've got someone in the shop helping you with this project that maybe isn't, an adept leather worker, or maybe someone that doesn't really find that much fun in doing leather work, I think you'll see that it goes along pretty quickly, and they'll have a completed project before you know it. So I'm just going to work my way down here to the bottom. And when I get to the bottom, all I'll do is make a wrap around the end of the branch, and then I work my way back up again. And when I do that, it'll make a really nice X pattern on the top here. And then I think it looks like snow on the tree. When I get to this time of the year, I think a lot of people do. There's lots of memories. I hope everybody's are good memories, but I did different types of craft projects and, stayed busy with that. My mom was always sewing. My dad had lots of hobbies, so it just kind of fits in the theme of the season for me. And I'll show you here when I get down to the bottom how easy it is to work my way back up again. If you glued your two edges together, obviously it would make lining them up a little bit easier. I use some of the permanent tape on them as well, but this one I'm just kind of free-handing on here, working my way down through here. And I just make a wrap around here, cross over, and then I will go back up through to the top. And when you tighten up the stitch, you want to try to help line it up to where it makes a nice X up there. I guess if you're into that, but I think it looks nice there. You could stitch along the bottom of this and you could work your way here. And but I kind of thought that, I guess my thought was that when I do it this way, it looks like there's snow settled on top of each of these sides of the tree. You could use other colors as well if you wanted. If you wanted to accent the tree with a different color. And this is the side with the chrome pieces. And then this is the brass. And then this one's just green. I kind of like just the green, I think. I don't think there's anything wrong with the others, but I think the green's pretty. There we go. Huh. What's missing? You see it? Well, there you go. I think that fixes it. Well, there you go. I think it's a fun little project. It could be one of Santa's helpers help you with it, or just something to occupy a little bit of your time on the workbench. And I think I like the brass side better. And then the magical thing that happens, you make a Christmas tree, and then the weather changes. Huh. Amazing how that works.